boys and girls, and welcome to Mrs. Jacoby's Story Time. Today I'm going to read a story about Aunt Isabel Tells a Good One. This story is going to help us learn about characters, setting, plots, events, problems, and solutions. Now, if you notice the cover, there are two little mice. They're going to act like people. So what type of genre would you think that was? That's right, fiction. And because it's animals acting like people, it's fantasy fiction. This story is called Aunt Isabel Tells a Good One by Kate Duke. It's one of my favorites. I hope you enjoy it too. Tell me a story, said Penelope one night after supper. What kind of story? Asked Aunt Isabel. A good story, said Penelope. All right, said Aunt Isabel. A good story is the hardest kind to tell, though. We must put it together carefully with just the right ingredients. Let's start by giving it a when and a where. Do you remember what that's called, boys and girls? The setting, the when and the where. When does the story begin? Long, long ago, said Penelope. And where does it begin? Asked Aunt Isabel. Think of a place where exciting things can happen. A cave, said Penelope. Long, long ago, whispered Aunt Isabel, there was a deep, dark cave in a gloomy forest where nobody lived except creatures who loved night and darkness and hid from the light. Oh, that's too scary, squeaked Penelope. Oh, what do you think, boys and girls? Is that a scary setting? Would you like that setting? We'll put something cheerful in our story too then, said Aunt Isabel. Think of a who. Now remember, boys and girls, the who is the characters. Who shall be in this story? How about a handsome prince named Augustus who lives on a sunny hill high above the gloomy forest? In a big castle, Penelope added. Certainly in a castle, with his mother and father, the king and queen, Aunt Isabel agreed. Prince Augustus is as kind as he is good-looking. He likes to have picnics in the garden and is always happy to share his sandwiches. I like this prince, said Penelope. Me too, said Aunt Isabel. Now let's add someone else, someone talented and charming. Should we name this darling animal Penelope? That's her name. She's going to be in the story now too. Would you like to be in this story? Here's a picture. Lady Penelope, said Penelope. Lady Nell for short, said Aunt Isabel. Where does she come from? Nobody knows. She travels about wherever she likes and has learned many secrets and clever ways from the creatures she has met. She can fiddle like a cricket, sing like a dove, and wiggle her ears as well as any jackrabbit. Best of all, she has 4 pet fireflies that she can jiggle like spinning gold stars. One day, her travels take her by the castle. Prince Augustus hears her singing. What a beautiful voice, he thinks. He offers her a sandwich. What a generous heart, she thinks. Pretty soon, guess what happens? They fall in love, Penelope exclaimed. Exactly. So now, our story has romance in it too, said Aunt Isabel. This story is coming out nice, Penelope said. Do you agree, boys and girls? Do you like this story so far? Think about what happened. Too much niceness can be dull, though, said Aunt Isabel. We'll add a problem. Listen, the king looks out from the castle and growls. Who is that raggedy girl? A dreadful creature, sniffs the queen. Can you imagine? She wiggles her ears, most unladylike. Not the sort of animal we want our prince to know, thunders the king. Be gone with her. And with that, they send Lady Nell away and forbid Augustus ever to speak to her again. Isn't that sad? Asked Isabel. I think we should leave that problem part out, grumbled Penelope. So here's a problem, boys and girls. Okay, how do you think Lady Nell feels now? Okay, how do you think Augustus feels? Do you like his parents? Did that surprise you that they were mean? It surprised me. I wonder what will happen next. Just wait till you hear what happens next, said Aunt Isabel. Because now we put villains into our story. Now remember, boys and girls, the villains are the bad guy characters. Alone and sad, Augustus sits in the garden, weeping into his sandwiches. Night comes, and still he weeps. Finally, the queen goes out to scold him for being foolish. But he's gone! On the garden, there lies a note. It says, "The prince has been snatched. Give up the throne if you want him back. Signed Odious Mole and Bad Egg Bat." Odious means really mean. Oh, how the queen weeps! Oh, how the king wails! And oh, what panic there is in the kingdom! Odious Mole and Bad Egg Bat, those bullies who lurk in the dark, plotting their mischief, are on the rampage. The townsfolk pack their things and rush to escape. The king and queen, wringing their paws, wonder what to do. What would you do, boys and girls? Would you run away? What do you think Lady Nell does? I wonder. But when Lady Nell hears the news, she doesn't run away. She doesn't waste time with paw ringing. She leaves her camping out place, sneaks back to the castle garden, and finds a clue. A trail of sandwich crumbs leads away from the castle into the gloomy forest at the bottom of the hill. Uh-oh, more scary stuff, said Penelope. A little danger is good for a story, said Aunt Isabel. Lady Nell follows the trail further and further into the forest. At last she comes to the mouth of the deep, dark cave. Should she go inside? What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Would you? No, squeaked Penelope. Well, someone got to save the prince, argued Aunt Isabel. So Lady Nell marches in. There are shadows all around. The cave twists and winds. She turns a corner and sees Prince Augustus all tied up. "Nellie!" he shouts. "Augie!" she cries, and leaps to help him. Suddenly, a voice snarls, "Not so fast, my little friends," and out rushes Odious Mole. With a sneer, he reaches toward them in his long, sharp claws. "Oh no!" cried Penelope. "What are they going to do?" What do you think? What would you do? Quick as a flash, Aunt Isabel replied. Lady Nell called her fireflies and began to juggle. "She juggles?" cried Penelope. "Why?" "Because, you remember, she has traveled far and wide," answered Aunt Isabel, "and she has learned the secrets and creatures who hide in the darkness of caves. So up go the fireflies, and they spin and they sparkle and light up the cave like bright gold stars. "Spades and shovels," yelps Odious Mole. My eyes, the lights hurt my eyes. Get them away from me." "Run, Augustus," cries Lady Nell. "After them, Bad Egg," snarls Odious. He said the lights hurt his eyes. See how smart she is? Down from the ceiling stoops Bad Egg Bat, squealing, "Hee hee hee, hee hee hee. You can't stop a bat with your puny fireflies. I'll just eat them up. Wee hee hee, what a treat, hee hee hee." Lady Nell and Augustus scurry into the shadows to hide, but Bad Egg screeches, "Hee hee hee, a bat can find you in the dark. I can hear where you are." Now remember about bats, boys and girls? When we learned about bats earlier this year, they have used something called echolocation. Okay, that means they hear even though they can't see you. "Run quietly, Augustus," whispers Lady Nell, but their paws go skitter, skitter, scatter, scatter, scatter all over the floor. "Hee hee hee, I hear you," squeaks Bad Egg. "I'll get you now." What will Lady Nell do? What do you think she would do? If they can still see you, okay, with their ears because they hear where you are, what would you do? How would you solve this problem? wonder how she solves this problem. "Sing, Augustus," she cries. And they both start to sing so loudly as they can. Their voices echo and echo and echo through the cave. Soon it sounds like 100 princes and Lady Nels. What a racket! Now Bad Ag can't tell which voices are the real ones. He doesn't know which ones to follow. Was that a good idea? I think so. "Bats and belfries, stop the noise," he screeches. "Stop the noise!" Around and around he flies, hanging against the walls. Finally, he knocks himself on the head and falls down in a heap. Lady Nell and Prince Augustus dash out of the cave. They don't stop running until they are out of the forest and safely back to the castle on the hill. With shouts of joy, the king and queen rush to greet them. When Augustus tells them of Lady Nell's courage and cleverness, the king hugs her, and the queen says, "What fools we have been, my dear. You will always be welcome here." And Lady Nell wiggles her ears with delight. The king and the queen call the whole kingdom together for a great celebration, and everyone dances until dawn while the fireflies twirl and the somersaults overhead. As for Odious and Bad Egg, they slink back into the depths of the dark cave and stay there, not daring to come out, for they know no one will ever be afraid of them again. Thanks to Lady Nell. "Is that the end?" asked Penelope. "It's a happy ending every good story should have," Aunt Isabel replied. "Do Prince Augustus and Lady Nell get married?" asked Penelope. I wouldn't be surprised. Would you?" said Aunt Isabel. "But first, Lady Nell becomes a famous musician, and first, Prince Augustus becomes a good and wise king. All that will have to wait, though, until we are ready to make up another good story." And now, my dear Penelope, it's time for you to go to bed. I hope you enjoyed that story, boys and girls. Now for some questions to think about. Okay, these are questions, okay, for a fiction story. Remember, this was a fantasy fiction story. So what was the setting in this story? That's the where and the when. Can you tell me? Who were the characters? That's the who. There were good characters and bad characters. Do you remember them? What happened in the story? These are the events. Retell the story in order. Remember, first, next, then last. You can draw pictures. What was the problem? There were a couple problems in that story. That's the, oh no, something went wrong. Do you remember what they were? How were they solved? That's the solution to the problem. And it usually comes at the end of the story. Now for your connection. Think about, what was your favorite part? What did this story make you think of or remind you of? Would you like to create your own fiction story and share it with me? I love to hear it. Thank you for listening to Aunt Isabel Tells a Good One by Kate Duke.